I'm going to start out with some trivia for you. Do you know where the magic term, hocus pocus comes from? It actually comes from the Mass. Here's the history. In the early Middle Ages, right after the Dark Ages, Europe was invaded. The only thing left standing, basically, was the church. And the church was the unifying factor. Education went out the window because people were trying to survive. Well, picture yourself in a middle-aged church. Okay? This altar, compared to all of you, is too close. Put it against the wall, add another 10, 15 feet. And then you would have the altar with the priest at the altar. Now, there were no microphones. So if you were listening, okay, you would just hear a mumble. And because as parishioners you would be really uneducated, you would see the priest come up to the altar with his back to you, and his arms, are straight out like this. Then, during the liturgical prayers, he'd be moving his hands, making the sign of the cross, bowing. And when you're sitting in the pew, something's going on, but you don't have the education to understand truly what it is. The priest is saying the magic words. And voila, this bread becomes Jesus. Well, it came later on with the Protestant reformers. The words of Mass, "This is my body, this is my blood," was hoc est corpus meum. Now, if you say that real fast and mumbled, it comes out hocus pocus. Okay? That's where it comes from. Hocus pocus dominocus. Okay? Dominocus is Dominus, Lord. Now, the thoughts of the people. Mass became, not on a conscious level, but at a subconscious level, a big magic show. The priest did the magic signs. It became Jesus. That type of attitude has survived until this day. How many of us, when we come to Mass, how many of us think of Mass just as a ceremony that you go to? The priest says the blessing. The priest, we stand, we sit, we kneel. The Mass, on one level, has turned into a magician's sideshow, so to speak. How many of us look at Jesus in the tabernacle? We know it's Jesus. We believe that it's Jesus. But how many of us still look at Jesus in the tabernacle as an object? We refer to the Holy Eucharist as it, not he. How many of us use prayers basically as what I call holy magic? I'm constantly taking out the Novena to St. Jude out of the book rack. Why? The Novena to St. Jude is fine. It's what's on the other side. You must put this in 7 churches in 7 pews, you must pray this for 7 days. You know, that's not what we do here. Look at the readings. Where does it start? The Passover. For the Jewish nations, what was the Passover? It wasn't just the delivery from Egypt. That's the external. The internal is that God is with his people. When Jesus took that over, this is my body, this is my blood. He's taking that event and inviting us in. When we eat the body and blood of Christ, we are partaking of Jesus' covenant. The Eucharist is not a vitamin pill. It's not a magic luck charm. It is a participation in the love of Christ. Do we realize that? That's what today is all about. Reminding ourselves that through, with, and in the Eucharist, we are there with the Lord, and the Lord is with us. When you come to Mass, are you thinking that? Maybe to a certain degree. But how many of you are just thinking, of the ritual? Stand up, sit down, kneel. And how many of us really think about how we are united with the Lord? Yes, we believe that the bread and wine become the body and blood of Jesus. And we know that we're receiving God. But how much of it is just still a ritual versus how much of it is a true merging with God? Think about that today. Think about the reason why you take communion. Think about the reason why you come here. Not to just participate in a ritual, but to be one with your God.